And after 20 years, 9 Super Bowl appearances, 6 rings, Tom Brady posted his goodbye.
This is it for him, man. Thanks for a hell of a run.
Tom Brady is going to wind up as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Wrap your mind around that one.
When you get yourself in a situation like this, this is a great opportunity for us to get to. We're going to be in it at the end. There's no team that's going to run away from us.
Here we go. We started the show today by discussing whether Tom Brady or Bill Belichick was more to blame for their divorce in New England. Stephen A. blamed Belichick. Max said Brady. They will both be facing a new reality when the season kicks off, but it's Brady who will find himself in completely new surroundings than he played in for the last 20 years, 2 decades. Max, will Brady ultimately regret this decision of parting ways with Bill Belichick in New England?
Yes, he will. I want to be very clear about Brady's because, first, his leadership is very important. Very important in terms of keeping the team in it and all of that. I'm not diminishing that. I'm focusing on Belichick. The answer is yes, Brady will regret it. And the answer is also partly in what he said there at the end, the audio at the end. We're going to be in it. No one's running away from us. That was Brady and Belichick the entire run in New England. When were they ever blown out when it mattered? All their Super Bowls, by the way, were like by a field goal, one way or another, and 6 went their way and 3 went the other. I mean, let's not forget when people are like, oh, they almost won 9. Yeah, but they almost lost 6 also. But they were always in it. Always in it. That's not just the quarterback. That's all 3 phases of the game. That's the GM and the coach doing that. So Brady's early in his career, and again, I'm not diminishing him. He got them in position for Vinatieri to hit field goals, right, and win close games. That's very valuable because they won Super Bowls. And later on, he was all-world, putting up like Peyton Manning numbers, only better than Peyton when it counted. Not diminishing that, but those games were all close. Every phase of the game kept it close. Okay, sometimes the defense wasn't operating like against the Eagles when they lost. Sometimes, but the entire team was orchestrated. Was the architecture of the team and then the orchestration of it was such that they were always going to be in it. And that's not the quarterback. That's the GM and the coach. Going forward, Brady can have success, some failures in Tampa, ups and downs. But it's going to be steady as she goes once Belichick finds a reasonable quarterback with the Patriots. They will always be in it.
Let me tell you this, man. I don't think that Brady's going to regret it at all. And I think one of the key elements, Max, that you're missing in all of this is how many times Brady was asked to do so much with so little because Bill Belichick was taking care of the defensive side of the football. We forget how many times Brady had to go out there and work with smoke and mirrors and figure out a way to get the job done. He had the Edelmans of the world to dip and dunk it to. Okay, before that it was Amendola or Amendola with Edelman. The reality is, of course, you can't always have Gronkowski. He ultimately retired last season, but there have been plenty of times in the past where Brady had one weapon and so much ammunition was given to the defensive side of the ball because Bill Belichick knew he had Brady at the quarterback position, so he could afford to sit up there and leave him bereft of the weapons necessary in order to be elite, a la 2007 with Randy Moss or something along those lines. In this particular instance, if you're Tom Brady, you're responsible for the offense, not the defense. On the offensive side of the ball, here you have Mike Evans. You've got Chris Godwin. You've got O.J. Howard. You've got Brady. Okay? You look at that with Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich calling plays along with yourself. You are finally a part of an elite offense for the first time in years. And I think that because of that, there will be no regrets on the part of Tom Brady. He knows that if you give him the requisite weapons, that he could go out there and get the job done. And at this point in time in his career, that's where his mission lies. That's what he's trying to prove, that he's not over the hill, that there is no cliff, that he's not done, that there isn't a lack of velocity on the ball, his passes, etc., that he could still throw as deep as he did before, etc., etc. All of these questions about him as an individual commodity, as an individual component, he's going to be in a position to answer and shut people up because he's going to have the weapons necessary to pull that off. By virtue of that reality alone, I don't believe there are any regrets that Tom Brady will have about going to Tampa.
Brady,
both of you guys have
Joe
valid
Montana.
points.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Both
Sorry,
of you guys both of you all have valid points, but here's a different spin on why he won't regret it. Guys, we can't like leave the fact that this was a 20-year run. We talking about this like Tom Brady has 5 to 10 more years to play quarterback. This move, Seth Wickersham's article, this move for Brady was a bit about being disgruntled and a bit about being appreciated. So no, he won't have regret. He made decisions based on he wants to have a good time, be appreciated, get away from the Patriot way, right? If somebody starts losing, we'll start talking about, oh, see, there it is. We knew Belichick wasn't the coach, or we knew Brady wasn't the quarterback. Here's the deal, though. The non-regret comes from the fact that so much has been accomplished. Both of these guys are equally responsible for the success and some of the failures of what the New England Patriots has dealt with over these years. But for us to get into a conversation about will Tom Brady regret leaving Bill Belichick, or will Bill Belichick regret Tom Brady leaving, it's been 2 decades. It's been 6 Super Bowls. It's been 9 appearances. It's been winning a number of different ways of winning Super Bowls and winning a tremendous amount of games. So I don't think it'll be regret from either side when you start talking about whether it is something that's going to take them down or make them feel bad. And at the same time, they both have things that they want to prove outside of each other. But the whole notion of regret is when you could have done something. They've done everything you can possibly do as a franchise, as a quarterback, and as a head coach.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that's a really good point, Marcus. I look at Joe Montana as the comp for Tom Brady, because before there was a Brady Belichick, there was a Montana Walsh. And Montana, like Brady, compared to Marino, the way Brady was really most of his career compared to Peyton, well, we all know that really Marino and Peyton are better, right? Except when it matters most, you'd rather have Montana and Brady. But the question really was, how much of that is the coach? And Montana, like Brady, was called at times system quarterback and this and that. He was 4-0 in Super Bowls, 13 touchdowns, no interceptions. And before Brady broke that standard, and you could still argue Montana over anyone, including Brady, there was the Montana thing. He went to Kansas City, made the playoffs both seasons, went to the AFC Championship game the first season. He proved his point. If Brady does something like that, maybe he won't have regrets. If he at least gets to the NFC Championship game and shows, look at this, particularly if the Patriots don't fare well, because unlike the Niners, where Steve Young was left in place, Brady made sure Garoppolo wasn't going to be there. So maybe if all that pans out that way, Brady won't have regrets. But if Tampa Bay doesn't make the playoffs, if he doesn't look good if they do make the playoffs and they lose, and the Patriots just keep rolling because they find his replacement, I think he'll regret it.
There's a whole bunch of ifs in that argument, a whole bunch of them. And the reality is most are not applicable to Tom Brady. When we watch Tom Brady, there are numerous aficionados in the National Football League who pointed out how limited the weapons were that he had available to them. And Marcus, you keep bringing up the point about people, the 20-year run, feeling sorry for him. It's not about that. What we're talking about is the here and now. What we're doing is, we're reflecting on the level of success that he had. But the reason why it's a story is because obviously Brady feels he has a lot left, and the coach clearly felt otherwise. And so when you look at it from that perspective, that's the perspective in which we're leaning on, Marcus, in order to address this subject. You are sitting here as an analyst, as a pundit, and an NFL commentator. Just imagine for 1 second, Marcus, that you're sitting up here and you are establishing yourself at elite at what you do. And you still got 5 years left in the business. Somebody comes along and says, you're finished now. But you walking around and you looking around and you seeing cats that ain't on your level. Tom Brady, with a subpar year last year, we're still better than 2/3 of the quarterbacks in the National Football League, and that's without weapons. So if you're him, you're imagining what you can be with weapons. All I'm saying is there's absolutely nothing wrong with trying to find out, particularly when you're trying to find out by joining a team that everyone acknowledges is loaded with weapons. You're Tom Brady and you're going like this. Oh, it's on me. It ain't on the system. It ain't on the defense. It ain't on the receivers or lack thereof, rookies, inexperience, none of that. I got it all. It's on my shoulders, and I already won 6 rings and been to 9 Super Bowls.
I just
Y'all
think
think
he's
it's
top
off.
third.
It's what he's saying. Give it to me. Let's go.
I would love, just for reference for my future, because both of you guys have carved out some of the best careers in television. I would love for somebody to tell me I'm not good enough and somewhere else give me a 2-year, $60 million deal. I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We'll leave it on that
I
note.
wish the same thing, Marcus. I wish the same thing.
No regrets.
All right. If option A is they stay together, option B tells me them separating this season is going to be a whole lot more exciting. We can't wait to see that happening. Marcus, thank you so much for being with us. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Stay safe.
All right, my people, later.
Glad to see you
All
guys
right,
on the
we'll
watch.
talk to you. When we come back here on First Take, we have a champion who's played with both LeBron and Kawhi. What is the biggest difference between the two superstars, Danny Green, after the break?